What if the secret to an unbreakable life isn't motivation but mastery over your own will? What if the real battle isn't fought with swords or words but with the choices you make when no one is watching? And what if the weapon that could change your destiny has been in your hands all along? Discipline. There was a time I stood in front of the mirror at 2:47 a.m., sweat dripping from my forehead, fists clenched, mind spinning. No one was watching, no applause, no rewards, just the silence of a dark room and the raging storm inside me. That night, I realized something that changed my life forever. Discipline is the weapon that never dulls. Not motivation, not inspiration, not luck, discipline. Let me take you deep into the mind of a man who understood this better than anyone who ever lived. Miyamoto Musashi. A man who walked through blood and fire, mastering not only the blade, but the battlefield of the mind. And if you think this video will be another cliche self-help piece filled with sunshine and soft words, you're dead wrong. This isn't about feeling good. It's about becoming dangerous. 1. The man who chose the path of pain. Miyamoto Musashi was no ordinary samurai. He didn't wear shiny armor. He didn't care about appearance, status, or approval. He walked the path of solitude. But Musashi's real war wasn't with swords. It was with himself. He lived a life of brutal self-denial, sleeping without comfort, often on the cold ground, refusing even to bathe before duels because he didn't want to be mentally softened by luxury. He deliberately chose discomfort, pain, stillness. And it wasn't because he was trying to be tough. It was because he knew the truth. You can only fight the way you practice. And so he practiced suffering daily. Why? Because suffering isn't your enemy. Lack of control is too. Motivation is for the weak. There's a dark truth most men don't want to face. You will not always feel like doing the right thing. The gym won't always call your name. The grind won't always feel glorious. The business won't always grow. She won't always love you. Life won't always clap for your efforts. So, what will keep you going? Discipline. Musashi didn't win because he was talented. He won because he was consistent. While others were celebrating, he was sharpening his blade. When others were chasing comfort, he was embracing the void. He once said, "The way of the warrior is resolute acceptance of death." He didn't mean just physical death. He meant the death of ego, the death of convenience, the death of excuses. To follow Musashi's path is to bleed for your future self in silence, without witnesses, without rewards. 3. The enemy within. Let me tell you a story. It's not flashy, but it's real. There was a week in my life when everything collapsed. My girl left, my bank account was in the red, my business flopped, and the worst part, I wanted to give up. Not in a dramatic way, but in that slow, rotting way. The kind where your soul starts to whisper, "What's the point?" I was one bad day away from quitting everything. But then I remembered something Musashi said, "Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye." So I asked myself, what can't I see right now? The answer hit me like a punch in the gut. The man I would become if I kept going. That's when I realized discipline is not about punishment. It's about faith. Faith in your future self. Faith that the pain will forge something unbreakable. And so I got up, not because I wanted to, but because the warrior in me demanded it. 4. Romanticizing the pain. People today want to feel good all the time. Musashi didn't care about feeling good. He cared about becoming unstoppable. He trained alone. He lived in caves. He fought dirty. He won by being unpredictable, uncomfortable, and inhumanly consistent. He knew that if you romanticize the pain, you make it yours. You take back control. Musashi wrote, "You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor. Pain is not a punishment. It is the proof that you are on the edge of transformation. When you choose to endure pain that no one sees, you separate yourself from average men, from mediocrity, from weakness, the gym, the business, the meditation, the reading. None of it is about self-care. It's about self-mastery." 5. Red pill. You're either dangerous or disposable. Here's the part. No one tells you if you are not disciplined, you are easily controlled by your cravings, by women, by the system, by your emotions. The undisciplined man is a slave to everything. The disciplined man, he's a threat. A man who controls his mind, his body, his habits. That man is rare. That man can't be bought, can't be manipulated, can't be broken. Here is another quote from Musashi that I talked about in my previous videos. If you wish to control others, you must first control yourself. We live in a world that wants you soft, distracted, addicted, fat, weak, because weak men don't build empires. Weak men scroll. Weak men beg for approval. Musashi wasn't interested in being liked. He was interested in becoming a force of nature. You want power, respect, legacy, then bleed for it in silence. 6. The formula. Decide, detach, discipline. Let me make it simple. There are 3 steps to becoming disciplined. Decide who the hell you want to be. Not wish, not fantasize, not maybe someday. Clarity is power. A man without a clear target is just a distracted boy in a grown body. Know what you're chasing or you'll spend your life running in circles. Detach from comfort. Start loving the early, empty mornings. The cold showers that shock you into presence. The loneliness that forces you to face your inner demons. Make discomfort your ritual. Get addicted to the burn. And finally, discipline means freedom. Do the work every damn day. When you're tired, when you're doubting, when it hurts, especially then. You don't need another podcast or self-help book. You need brutal consistency. You need to make your actions louder than your thoughts, because thoughts lie, but action reveals who you are. 7. The shadow behind the blade. People forget Musashi didn't just master the sword. He mastered art, calligraphy, strategy, philosophy. He was a warrior, yes, but also a poet of war, a sculptor of self, a ghost who painted death with ink and steel. But here's what's terrifying. He reached mastery in every domain with one thing: discipline. No hacks, no luck, no secret sauce, no dopamine-driven productivity tricks. Just brutal, lonely repetition. Just showing up when it was hard, boring, cold. He didn't follow a system. He was the system. He became the blade. He carved greatness into his bones. And you have that same fire. But right now, it's buried under TikTok loops, comfort food, weak friendships, cheap dopamine, and silent resentment. So light a match. Burn it all of it, and rebuild yourself brick by brick. One disciplined day at a time. No applause, no shortcuts, just quiet domination. 8. Be your own weapon. Let me leave you with something I whisper to myself every morning when it's still dark and I don't feel like moving. Discipline is doing what must be done, even if you're bleeding, even if you're exhausted, even if no one claps for you because no one's coming to save you. Not God, not your parents, not your friends. They can love you, but they can't fight for you. That's your job. You want to become legendary, then suffer intelligently, repeatedly, silently, without posting about it. Discipline is not just a trait. It's a rebellion against your lower self. It is the war cry of the few who refuse to live soft. It is the sword that cuts through distraction, doubt, and comfort. Musashi didn't become a legend by being balanced or well-rested. He became a legend by walking through hell with stillness in his eyes. So stop chasing motivation, stop begging for permission, stop waiting for signs. Start walking the lonely path, because that's where warriors are made, not in the comfort of light, but in the silence of the shadows where no one sees you. And discipline becomes the only voice you listen to, until eventually you don't just carry the blade, you become it. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. True discipline isn't punishment, it's liberation. It's the silent pact you make with your future self. It's waking up before the sun, doing the work when no one is looking, and standing tall when everyone else has fallen. Musashi's way was brutal, but pure. He didn't chase balance, he chased greatness. He knew that discipline is the bridge between mediocrity and mastery, between fleeting motivation and timeless strength. And when you finally understand that discipline is not the cage but the key, you stop running from struggle and start using it as fuel. The world belongs to those who can endure what others escape. So, sharpen your habits, steady your mind, and walk the path Musashi once walked. Silent, sharp, and unstoppable.